I think it's a long story. It's a 54-year-old family business, and we started off with manufacturing import substitute chemical that was in great demand in this country for footwear, and the footwear market was just opening up, and manufacturing of footwear, so we started making blowing agents. And we were the only ones for many years. It was almost like a monopoly position. Then we went into antioxidants and UV light stabilizers, and also diversified into other related chemicals with related chemistries, but predominantly in the area of plastic additives. We don't have a diversified interest in any other businesses. So we're predominantly a polymer additive company with some molecules that cater to the pharma intermediates and agro intermediates, but that was mainly because we already had the building blocks, and there were some common building blocks and so on. So we said that we would kind of diversify into related chemistries. But yeah, it's been an interesting journey, because we've gone from a very small operation to what we call a reasonably mid-sized operation, where we have 4 plants that manufacture additives. We still command a leadership position in our area in the product lines that we make in India, and we have a very strong position internationally as well, and we distribute to almost 45 countries, with Europe and the United States, in fact North America and Latin America being large markets for us. We don't operate in the Asian space because it doesn't offer a level playing field, and there's a lot of competition coming out of China and so on. So we stay clear away from some of those markets, because there's plenty of potential for growth in all the other markets which offer a better environment and a more level playing field. So yeah, our endeavor is to continually grow this company through organic, inorganic, and other avenues of growth, acquisitions, mergers, and so on. So actually, I'm in discussions and in the process of planning significant expansions of existing product lines, and adding new product lines that are related to our line of business, and where we can derive some synergies on distribution, synergies on manufacturing, synergies on R&D, and so on.
So, been for 54 years in an industry, you must have seen a huge change in the dynamics of this industry also. Probably with every decade that has gone, so it's almost like 5 decades that the brand has been in India, more than 5 decades. So every decade there has been some kind of a dynamic changes you have seen in the Indian business environment and also in the industry. Which phase of your growth has been very exciting in terms of like when the brand probably, or the industry grew a lot?
Well, I'd say every phase has been exciting, because every phase comes with its own challenges, and it's a process of evolution. It's a question of how strong you come out of every phase that actually sets you up for the next phase. We think that the last 10 years has been very exciting, because we've also established a stronger position internationally. So there have been many challenges that we've been able to overcome. India Inc. as a brand is beginning to be very highly respected, and that gave us a tremendous help as well. Initially in the 80s and 90s, we were battling on 2 fronts. One is Indian company with ostensibly products that are world class, and then we had brand India, that everyone associated India with being cheap or inexpensive, and said that your cost of manpower is low, so therefore you should be producing cheaper, supplying cheaper products. But that is so far from the truth, because first of all, our industries are not manpower intensive. There's strong automated processes. Okay, it's chemicals. They have to follow stringent guidelines for handling, for processing, for packaging, and so on. So this is not a handicraft industry dependent. So any advantages on manpower, so to say, are negated. And in a country like ours, where cost of capital hovers around 10 to 12%,
Right.
you know, any advantages that, and if it's a highly capital intensive industry, so the advantages tend to kind of disappear. But yeah, we've been able to surmount those challenges. We've established a strong brand equity in the international markets, where we are a respected supplier of the products that we manufacture, and we supply to the majors in the world. So yes, it's been, I think every phase has been interesting, challenging, and I think we've had fun through all the phases, because we've grown, we've evolved, we've learned. So it's been a great journey so far.
So you've been a part of this with this brand from probably
30 years.
30 years,
Yeah.
right? So you're like the second generation.
Yeah.
So, these 30 long years, and you probably have taken the brand from where probably your family, if I'm not wrong, your father started it, and you've taken it to the next level. So the vision and all that you must be having. So what are the leadership challenges you faced while you were, when you came into the picture of this industry, and then the company, and then the leadership challenges you faced while you're this whole growth phases, and what keeps you going?
Well, the leadership challenges is like any family-run business is management of change. Okay, there is that's always the case. Okay, being from you have to be able to, with an existing mindset, change people in the company to accept a different vision, or not necessarily different vision, but I think a way of doing business which they may not be used to. So yes, management of change was a challenge, and it's always been exciting to professionalize, corporatize the processes in the organization, and that's not necessarily to do with the manufacturing processes, but I think it's the processes that that run the company, processes that, and I think my job should be to make myself completely dispensable. Okay, and I think part of the leadership challenge is to ensure you don't create, like someone said, you don't create followers, but you create more leaders. Okay, so I mean, we don't want to have a company with followers there. We want to have a company where there are more leaders who can drive their own businesses or their verticals, and I at some point can become dispensable, and that would be a true test of really building a corporation and not just running a company. So and the vision is clear. The vision is to grow and build this company, and the growth potential is very high. And to build the company, significantly larger than what it is now. But yeah, the challenges will remain, but so will the excitement.
India has been quite an exciting story for the last 10 decades or so, in terms of, like, we have been one of the fastest growing companies and seen a lot of Indian brands globally, challenging some of those biggies. How do you see the next 5 years of this country? Where do you see this economy going to go, and where do you see your industry transforming the economy?
The country, I think, is poised for, it's at a good point now. I mean, also with the continuity of leadership, I think that gives us a little bit of more impetus to actually take some of the plans that are required to be taken forward. So I think we are poised at a very good point But I think the next 5 years will be quite transformational for Indian landscape, industrial landscape, the business landscape by and large. I think India Inc. Is cleaning up their act. Okay, which is a very positive way to see this entire business environment. I think what India really needs, and I think is now beginning to realize, is a good sense of leadership and a great sense of governance. And governance is beginning to come forth, whether it's voluntary governance or it's enforced governance. I think it's important that the Indian corporates and the Indian business houses understand that at the end of the day, to build real value and improve shareholder value, you've got to have companies that are run with very high levels of governance and processes that are above board. The chemical industry is always been a large part of the Indian manufacturing industry, and is going to continue to grow. The chemical industry is now waking up and understanding that for you to exist in the long term, you have to have a sustainable business model. And sustainability comes from making the right investments in producing high quality products very efficiently, ensuring very, very high standards of safety, and most importantly, having an environmental footprint that doesn't damage the environment. And that's changing. Okay, and that's something which is very important for the chemical industry to make it sustainable. Is the mindset that's changing, that you cannot no longer pollute the environment, whether it's effluents which are liquid, gaseous or solid, and you have to be a socially responsible company. And so I think we're gaining, the industry is gaining respectability. Everyone looks at the chemical industry and scorns at the chemical industry for destroying the environment, but that's not necessarily true. Things are changing. Companies are making large investments in ensuring that they have a carbon footprint that is manageable or within reason. And I think the way the forward for the chemical industry is to actually have a sustainable business model. And sustainability will come from a little more responsibility. So yes, the chemical industry will grow. A lot of the the multinationals who had interests in China and other neighboring countries where they thought they would be able to get a better manufacturing partnership, are now looking at India, because I think India is offering a little more open environment, and the Indian companies are a little more responsible in terms of the way they manage their businesses, and the level of governance and transparency is much higher. So with multinationals, that's something that was missing. That was missing in that part of the world, where what you actually expected, you never got. So yes, India, I think, is sitting strong, provided corporates understand that it's time for a much higher level of governance, and not just financial governance. I think it's operating governance.